Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. Despite assurances from the Marcos administration, it is on solid ground. Talks of a destabilization plot are not dying down. The palace and the National Defense Chief addressed the issue once again with a stern warning of consequences in case of a coup attempt.
Former Senator and now Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enrile has been acquitted of his remaining cases over the pork barrel scam. And some call this impeccable timing with the flood control fiasco still on everyone's mind.
And why are some people up in arms over the period film Quezon? Joining us in a conversation later is Ricky Avancenia, a grandson of the former Philippine President Manuel L. Quezon.
Sa nagagaling ang mga issues na ito, sa mga nagnanais na paalisin ng Pangulo sa pwesto, huwag po natin paniwalaan. Handa naman po ang gobyerno, palaki nila.
Pag naghihikayat ka sa mag-aklas sa gobyerno, rule of law nawawala. Sinong makikinabang? And I don't think Filipinos would like that. Iyan labag sa ating kagustuhan na maging malaya. No? Kaya, be careful for what you pray for. You may just get it.
Since the massive corruption on infrastructure projects came to light, rumors continue to swirl of a plot to overthrow the Marcos administration. Supposedly in the middle of it, some retired and disgruntled officers calling on the armed forces to withdraw its support from the government. The latest buzz on this was fueled by comments made by Defense Secretary Gilbert Chodoro of possible repercussions of a military takeover. The palace maintains it is still in control and is ready to thwart any destabilization attempt. Press Undersecretary Claire Castro also reminded the public to stay vigilant amid information coming from the wrong sources.
Tingnan niyo muna kung saan nagagaling ang mga issues na ito. Ito po ba ay galing sa mga obstructionists, fake news peddlers, walang mga otoridad para magsalita? Kung ito po ay kumakalat at nakita niyo kung saan galing at maituturo niyo na malamang ito ay mula sa mga nagnanais na paalisin ng Pangulo sa pwesto, huwag po natin paniwalaan. Pero handa naman po ang gobyerno sa anumang maaaring palaki nila.
In an interview yesterday, Chodoro warned that an extra-constitutional move by the military could severely impact the Philippine economy. He likened its effect to the current situation in Myanmar, which has been under sanctions since a military junta took over in 2021. Take a listen to a portion of Chodoro's interview.
Pag naghihikayat ka ng sandatahang lakas na mag-aklas sa gobyerno, ginugusto mo ang militar na magpatakbo ng gobyerno. Di ba? At the end of the day, wala nang batas kasi. At rule of law, nawawala. Ang makikinabang lamang ay ang mga kapanig ng mga bansa na hindi kasama ng buong mundo. Kung magkaroon ng extra-constitutional na galaw, number one, hindi ka kikilalanin. Hindi ka i-recognize ng ibang mga bansa. Ang bubuhay lang sa'yo, kokonting bansa. Isa na yung China, kaya sanction nga sila eh. So, if you're willing to risk extra constitutionality in the face of sanctions, sino makikinabang?
Sir, para ba sa sitwasyon ng Myanmar, sir?
Well, exactly the situation of Myanmar. And I don't think Filipinos would like that. No. At the end of the day, any extra-constitutional move means kung sino ang pinakamalakas na firepower, siya mamumuno. Yan labag sa ating kagustuhan na maging malaya. No? Kaya, be careful for what you pray for. You may just get it.
The defense chief also urged the public and the armed forces to protect the rule of law and examine the motives of groups calling for an uprising. In an interview with our sister program Storycon earlier, the Justice Department said it will await word from the PNP-CIDG if it will pursue possible cases against those behind the coup rumors. DOJ spokesman Polo Martinez also discussed some parameters of sedition.
Seditious speech is inciting to sedition is when words are uttered, words are said, which incite the public to rise publicly and tumultuously. So, yan po yung mga salita na pag sinabi, it'll incite the public to rise against the government. So, it's the act of sedition, seditious speech, or seditious actions with the goal of depriving government of its powers. So, when the two are taken into consideration, they come together, they both satisfy. That's how sedition could be constituted or could be committed. It doesn't really have to be active officers for it to be an act of sedition. Sedition in itself could be done by a private citizen. The crime that you may be referring to is coup d'etat.
Now, in other news, the Office of the Ombudsman says it is only a matter of time before they file their first batch of cases against government officials involved in the flood control scandal. And among them is former Congressman Zaldico. In all, according to Ombudsman Boying Remulla, they have already 8 criminal cases waiting to be filed to the Sandigan Bayan. Although there are no senators on the list yet. But Remulla confirms there are congressmen and public works officials, and foremost of whom is Ko and his family's company, SunWest. SunWest is a contractor behind the questionable 289 million peso flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. Recall that former district and assistant engineers in the DPWH testified that Ko received at least 1 billion pesos in kickbacks from flood contracts. In case the former lawmaker is charged, Remulla says the request for the cancellation of Ko's passport is next.
Siyempre, ine-evaluate lahat yan. So, the soonest possible time. Basta hindi na kagaya ng dati na snail pace. Talaga ito, talagang kailangan bilisan namin ito, paspasan ito. Kasi gano'n naman dapat Ang corruption, matagal na nangyayari yan. The deadline is yesterday, sinasabi ko lagi. Maraming nakalagay po ron na kakasuhan namin. Mga engineers. May mga congressman na kasama ron.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice is also filing charges on Monday, October 27, against those behind 5 ghost flood control projects in Bulacan. The raps include malversation of public funds, falsification of public documents, perjury, and graft. Ombudsman Remulla cannot say yet if these people will be spending Christmas in jail.
Ang intensyon, dapat dyan mabuti ang intensyon natin, pabilisin natin para yung dapat managot. Hindi tayo magpapakulong kasi gusto lang natin magpakulong. Mali ho yun. Dapat po dyan magpapakulong tayo nang dapat makulong.
And amid the flood control scam, a decision was handed down today in connection with the years-old pork barrel scam. The Sandigan Bayan 3rd Division has absolved more than 40 people over 15 cases of graft. Among those acquitted were former Senator and now Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Juan Ponce Enrile, his Chief of Staff Gigi Reyes, and so-called pork barrel scam queen Janet Lim Napoles. Reyes personally attended the promulgation this morning, while Napoles, who is in prison, and Enrile, who was visibly in a hospital, attended the proceedings via video conference. The Sandigan Bayan ruled that state prosecutors failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the respondent conspired to amass over 172 million pesos in kickbacks from the PDAF or Priority Development Assistance Fund. No civil liability was imposed on Enrile and Reyes, but Napoles and the others were ordered to return more than 200 million pesos to the National Treasury. Former Justice Secretary and now Congresswoman Laila De Lima was dismayed by the anti-graft court's decision. She hopes that flood control cases will not go down the same path.
Medyo na-frustrate kami pag ganyan na merong mga nadidismiss na mga cases flowing from the PDAF Napoles scam. Diyan din ang pitfalls kapag tumatagal ang mga kaso. Parang there's lesser scrutiny, especially from the public. Kapag ilang taon ang lumilipas na hindi nadidesisyonan at mamamalayan na lang natin ay nadidismiss na.
It's Friday, so let's talk about the week that was with our resident political pundit, Ronald Llamas. Good evening, Ronald.
Good evening, Ces, Pauline, Sean. Long time no see.
I know. Ang ganda naman. Nasaan ka?
Oo nga
Andito sa isang conference sa Laguna.
Ay, akala ko you're getting out before the heat rises here in Manila.
Well,
hindi. Umiinit pa lang
Umiinit nga. Bakit mas mainit yata tila ngayon ang usapan tungkol sa isang coup?
Well, una ay malaking tulong yung interview ni Department of National Defense Secretary Gibo Chodoro. Medyo mahaba yung kanyang interview at marami siyang sinabi na imbis na ma-appease yung suspicion o yung fear ng mga tao na may nagpaplano ng isang coup or withdrawal of support, parang lalong nabuhusan ng gasolina yung apoy. No? Pero mo, pinaliwanag niya na hindi tatanggapin ng international community ang isang military junta. So, where did that came from? Diba? Tapos, pinaliwanag niya na hindi tatanggapin ng mga tao ang isang military junta. Tapos, sinabi pa niya, be careful what you wish for. No, etc. So,
what you pray for. Pray for. Correction, pray for. Bakit may pray doon? Anong ibig sabihin ng
be
pray?
Careful what you pray for, di ba? So, nakakatawa dahil nga lumabas na ito a month ago, no? At ang una pang naglabas nito o nagsulat ng article, yung miyembro nyo rito sa network nyo, yung ba yun? Manny Mogato ba yun? Yung Pulitzer Prize Award. Siya pa nagsimula niyan. Tapos dinenay na ni IAP Chief of Staff Browner. Pero ngayon, inaamin nila na may kumausap nga sa kanila na gusto silang sumama dito sa mga planong coup d'etat at saka withdrawal of support. Itong lumabas nga, yung ex-General Pokis, etc. Dapat nung kinausap si AFP Chief of Staff Browner at hinahatak siyang sumama, dapat inaresto niya kaagad dyan, di ba? Yung mga aktivista nga, bumanat lang sa gobyerno, kulong kaagad, red tag kaagad. Bakit ito? Nire-recruit mismo sila para sumama sa isang coup. Parang hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang ginagawa. Pag-aaralan daw na magsampa ng kaso. Pinag-aaralan pa lang.
Oo, kasi aktibo tong mga nanghihikayat. May mga aktibo. May retirado, pero meron ding active officer. At
saka Ses, medyo tumindi itong mga chismis na ito. Dahil last week, sinabi ng Iglesia ni Cristo publicly na sasama sila sa November 30 rally. At last Friday, last week, ay nakita na publicly binisita ni Vice President Sara Duterte yung leadership ng Iglesia ni Cristo. So parang mga nanonood, parang the plot thickens. Alam naman natin, pag kumilos ang Iglesia ni Cristo, malaki yan. At pag kumilos ang Iglesia ni Cristo, lalo na kung kasama ang JIL, kasama ang KOJC, kasama ang mga Duterte, may ibang layunin yan. No? Hindi lang yan para magdasal. No? Hindi lang yan para magdasal sa Malacanang. Di ba? So, lalong dumadami itong mga suspicion na something is brewing. No?
Pinangalanan mo na ang Iglesia ni Cristo.
Salita sila last week Nasasama sila So, hindi na nakatago.
But the President has said, kung hindi nga siya presidente, sasama rin siya
Yes. Pero magkaiba yung trillion peso march na nag-organize ng September 21 rally, iba yung Iglesia ni Cristo. Halimbawa, yung trillion peso march na nag-organize ng September 21, ang kanilang rally ay sa EDSA Shrine, People Power Monument, EDSA pa rin. Mukhang yung Iglesia ni Cristo ay bandang Luneta. No? Kaya medyo hiwalayan, magkahiwalay.
Ronald,
mukhang iba yung political objective.
Okay. Saan nagpa-play in yung other religious groups sa banggit mo, JIL, which is of course associated with the dad of Senator Joel Villanueva, pati na rin yung KOJC, as we know, nakaka-deny lang nila nung hospital arrest request ni Pastor Apollo Kibuloy. Paano nagko-connect ito? Meron nga bang connection?
Well, una, yung KOJC, malinaw naman na very close yan sa mga Duterte. At sabi mo nga, na-deny yung kanyang request para sa hospital arrest. No? Kaya galit na galit yung kanyang mga followers. Yung mga followers niya, kung ano yan, ang tawag sa amin, tayang patok. All in. No? All in na yan. Wala na silang, desperate na sila. Yung JIL naman, nakita mo yung rally, di ba? Na galit si yung kanilang leader na si Joel Villanueva. At mukhang ang daming banat sa kanila, sa kanya, left and right. Tapos yung Iglesia ni Cristo nga ay publicly sinabi last week, sasama sila. At mukhang kasama nila si Vice President Sara Duterte. So parang yung kanyang mga respective na mga reklamo, na mga galit ay natatahi. No? At baka may possibility na magsama-sama sila. Hindi ko naman sinasabing magsasama-sama, pero may ganung malaking possibility.
Pero ngayon sinabi ng DOJ na the CIDG may be ready to make arrests on charges of sedition.
Two-edged yan, no? Halimbawa, nung sinabi ng AFP na baka tanggalan nila ng pensyon yung mga mai-involved dito sa mga plot na ito, parang nag-backpedal sila afterwards. Dahil nga ay medyo na-threatened yung mga may pensyon. Kung tatanggalan ng pensyon yung iba nilang mga kasama, baka pati sila tanggalan. Kaya very delicate yan, delicate balancing act. Paano mo pipigilan itong mga plotters without making them martyrs? No? Without making them the trigger na posible na magpalala nung sitwasyon. So medyo balancing act yan. Yung ganyang klaseng mga moves.
How will it play out? So November 13, tinitingnan nating date. Like you said, ibahin natin ito doon sa trillion peso March movement. Okay. But they're all happening on the same day. And nakita natin what happened noong September 21. Medyo maraming stage. Medyo may kind of confusion. Ano bang nangyayari dito? May na-hijack na stage. So ano yung... how will this look like?
Sean, very clear kasi yung sa EDSA. No? Nagsalita yung presidente ng Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines, si Cardinal David. Ang sabi niya, we are against a military junta. We are against a revolutionary government. No? We are for longer jail terms for plunderers. Yun ang sabi niya. So malinaw yung kanyang line na yung outrage natin kailangan ipagpatuloy, kailangan i-sustain, but within constitutional limits. Yung mga Duterte, ang call nila ay withdrawal of support. Klaro yon. At kung sasama sa kanila ang mga Iglesia ni Cristo, JIL, KOJC, baka maging parehas ang kanilang posisyon. Hindi ko sinasabi na at this point pareho,
But
pero
the VP hasn't said anything to that effect,
Yes. Ang sinasabi ko lang, yung mga Duterte forces, malinaw. Yun ang sinasabi nila. Pag nagrarally yung Maisug sa EDSA Shrine, anong call nila? Withdrawal of support. Ngayon, kung magsasama-sama sila lahat, hindi ko sigurado kung ano magiging call nila. No? Lalo na ang kanilang yung kanilang forces ay malamang malapit sa Malacanang, sa Luneta. Nakita naman natin yung violence na nangyari.
But, okay. Ano ba ang grievances ng mga naka-uniforme? Do they have any grievances na pwedeng sakyan? Or is it just because may alok from another political force?
Pwedeng it could be all of the above, Ses. No? Dahil, siyempre, yung iba sa kanila naalagaan ng husto ni Digong. No? Nung presidente si Digong. Alam ko na doble, triple yung kanilang salaries at saka mga pensyon.
Correct. Pero may increase sila lately. May increase lately na ginawa si BBM.
Yes. No? Ang sinasabi ko lang kung bakit sila medyo supportive yung iba sa kanila kay Digong. Dahil ang tingin nila na benepisyuhan sila. Ikalawa, itong nangyayaring mga corruption scandals. Kung makikita mo yung resulta ng eleksyon sa mga military camps nung midterm election, karamihan sa mga sundalo ay nireject yung administration candidates. So pwede mong sabihin na at least sa rank and file, using their right to vote, ay hindi sila bumoto dun sa alyansa candidates. At least most of them. No? At ikatlo, ay nakikita nila yung weakening ng ating mga institusyon. No, nakikita nila yung weakening ng Congress, weakening ng Senate, weakening even ng Supreme Court, no? Kaya for now ay medyo disenchanted sila. At hindi ko naman sasabihin na lahat. Pero sa isa kasing power grab, sa isang kudeta, hindi naman kinakailangan lahat eh. Just a small group ang kinakailangan para gawin yan. So yung ibang mga sundalo, pwedeng na-enamor or na-seduce nitong ibang mga political groups na may ibang mga layunin beyond yung anti-corruption movement. Dahil, ayun nga, medyo nagiging desperate sila eh. Dahil ang feeling nila, palapit na lang palapit sa kanila yung investigasyon. Diba, sabi ni Senator Bongo at saka ni Vice President Sara last week, no? Ay kami yung pupuntahan ng investigasyon ng ombudsman. Dapat ang investigahan nila yung mga mastermind. Diba? Yun ang sinasabi ng dalawa last week. So palapit ng palapit sa kanila kaya they can be very desperate.
Well, Ronald, the president does have an upcoming overseas trip next week. He will be attending the ASEAN Summit. Is it a wise move to step out of the country during this very, very crucial period?
Well, baka meron naman silang information na wala tayo na for now ay loyal naman sa kanya yung karamihan sa chain of command. No? Ikalawa, baka gusto niya ipakita na hindi siya bothered nitong mga rumors na ito. Hindi siya bothered. Lalo na yung rumors galing dun sa isang manimugato. No?
Ronald,
pwedeng ganun yung...
Etong fact na pinag-uusapan natin, tong rumors, does it increase or decrease the chances na matutuloy itong quote-unquote power grab or withdrawal of support?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be done in the dead of night, in
diba?
secret. And, di ba? Mabubulaga na lang tayo.
Kasi parang isang buwan na natin ito pinag-uusapan. Di ba?
Parang tayo lang yata yung bansa na publicly pinag-uusapan yung ganitong mga klaseng mga plots. Usually, itong plots na ito, bubulagain ka na lang Pero, di ba? Pero, kahit pinag-uusapan, nangyayari pa rin. Huwag niyong kalimutan, nagkaroon tayo ng almost 20 coup attempts. At dalawa sa kanila nag-succeed. Yung EDSA 86 at saka yung kay ERAP noong 2001. Yung kay ERAP was a withdrawal of support.
Yeah.
No? Doon yata ang yun yung temptation sa ating armed forces dahil ayaw na nila yung 89 coup na more than 300 soldiers ang namatay. Sila nagpatayan. Kaya nagkaroon na sila ng trauma. Mas ang gusto nila, yun nangyari dun sa panahon ni ERAP.
Exactly.
A total withdrawal of support.
I wanted to point that out na ano ba yan, we are regressing. Hindi na dapat pinag-uusapan ng ganitong playbook because we want to strengthen democratic institutions. And eto na naman tayo, withdrawal of support. Parang umaatras talaga tayo as a society. Is that the solution? How can that be the solution? Exactly. Why is it attractive for some quarters?
Well, yung kanilang, yung iba kasi may legitimate demands. Ba? Yung iba ay merong mga legitimate grievances. Yung iba, sinasakyan yan. Yung iba, sineseduce sila papunta sa more insidious objectives. Diba? Lalo na yung mga forces na desperate. No? Hindi ko alam kung nakatulong yung interview ni Secretary of Defense Gibo Chodoro. Parang hindi masyado. Dahil lalong pinag-usapan, katulad ngayon sa The Big Story.
Gives it credence kasi...
Palitan na nga natin ang topic. Pwede nating puntahan yung acquittal ni JPE. So it also is a reminder na kung kailangan mabilis ang trial ng mga kaso at airtight ang pag-file ng kaso.
Tama. Pero parang bad timing no? After so many witnesses, after so many evidence, parang yung nangyari kay Binay last month. No? Na-absuelto. Diba? So, hindi maganda yung timing. At lahat ito nakakadagdag dito sa mga rumors na ito. No? Kaya halimbawa, itong kay Joel Villanueva, no? Biglang bumulaga sa atin, meron na palang secret decision.
Yeah.
No, na hindi natin alam. Mismo yung ombudsman, yung current ombudsman, hindi alam.
Pero,
no?
the basis rin of the order to make him, to remove him from office is not sound. Wala sa batas kasi.
Well, kung hindi siya sound, dapat nag-motion for reconsideration siya 10 days after the decision. Not 3 years. Yun yung rule eh. Yung motion for reconsideration should have happened 10 days after the decision. Eh bakit ganun katagal? At saka bakit hindi lumabas? Halimbawa, kung ako yung akusado, tapos na-absuelto ako, no? Ni-reverse yung decision laban sa akin. Di ba ipagmamalaki ko yun? Di ba ilalantad ko yun? Bakit ngayon lang nalantad? Medyo weird.
Pero you're right, but the basis of the order itself is not sound because exempted ang House of Representatives and Senators. So,
pero alam mo yung mga batas kasi natin, may mga gray area yan eh. Kaya siguro, yan yung mga kakwan eh. No? Yung power ng ombudsman at saka yung mga exemption na tinatawag. Paano ang binatayan kasi ni Ombudsman Martires, hindi naman yun eh. Ang binatayan niya, fake daw yung signature. No? Yun ang kanyang sabi. No? Fake daw yung signature.
Pero
bakit yun ang kanyang...
Yung lumalabas din kasi is, to begin with, di ba? Kung yung own peers mo pala dapat yung humusga sa'yo kung legislator ka. Meaning, dapat dumaan pa sa ethics committee, tas magpa-plenary, pagbobotohan ng mga peers mo. And we've seen how that, kumbaga, doesn't actually happen. Diba? So, hindi ba dapat yun yung pagtuunan natin ng pansin na parang dapat demandahin natin na baguhin yun? Kasi ang weird naman na parang peer review siya. Eh, nagkakahiya.
Again, Sean, kaya nga kumakalat yung ganitong disenchantment. Dahil nakikita nila yung ating mga institutions ay doesn't work. Yeah. No? Yun ang tingin nila. Kaya itong mga extra constitutional na mga efforts na ito ay precisely dahil some of them, ang tingin, hindi gumagana yung ating rule of law. Hindi gumagana yung ating mga institusyon. No? Eh, sabi nga
alam mo, if you use that argument, mali rin eh. Tinatama mo yung mali ng isa pang mali.
I agree. Ang sinasabi ko lang, kaya sila nase-seduce. No? Yun ang sinasabi ko. I agree fully. Yeah. No? Nakakatawa nga itong suggestion ni Senator Alan Peter. Kailangan daw ay represented yung oposisyon sa ICI. Para daw fair, to be fair. Hindi ko alam kung saan ang galing yung proposal. Non-partisan nga, tapos lahaluan mo ng partisanship. Tapos yung ihahalo mo, mismo yung mga akusado na galing sa minority, galing sa opposition. Di ba? Tapos medyo hindi ko alam kung saan kinuha ni Ambassador of Jesus Christ, Senator Alan Peter, yung kanyang proposal.
Yun nga, Ronald, no? It's been 3 months na rin since this whole flood control scandal erupted, and yet wala pang nakukulong, wala pang nasasampahan talaga ng kaso.
May kulungan na.
May kulungan na. Una pa yung kulungan. But the question is, ma-fill ba yung kulungan na yan? Ano? And you did say, nagkakaroon na rin ng disenchantment sa mga tao ngayon. But at the same time, maybe that disenchantment can also be translated into anger, frustration. How do you assess the public's pressure right now?
Well, yes. Impatient ang mga tao, galit na galit, at very suspicious. Pero meron din kaunting positive na nangyari last week. Halimbawa, nag-agree na ang ICI na nabuksan, na gawing transparent at open yung kanilang investigation. No? For all it's worth. Kalawa, mukhang babalik si Senator Ping Lacson as head ng Blue Ribbon. At ang alam ko, pagbukas nito, ngayong November, ay he will up and swinging yung kanyang magiging unang chairmanship, no? Ikatlo ay halimbawa si Secretary Vince Dizon at si Boying Remulla, no? Nagsisimula na mag-level up, no? Halimbawa, kanina lang sinabi nila na itong si Congressman Eric Yap ay posibleng makulong, no? Without bail doon sa malversation case. Yan yung hinahanap ng tao, mabilisan. Di ba? Mabilisan na pagkilos. Kulang na kulang pa, pero may kaunting signs na nakikita na pwedeng tinatamaan na sila.
So
at
this
gusto
is-
nilang bilisan.
Okay.
Ang proposal ko nga doon sa DOJ spokesperson kanina, gumawa sila ng matrix. No? Nasaan na ba itong mga investigation? Ano na ba yung pwedeng kasuhan? Ano yung pwedeng i-freeze ang accounts? Ano yung pwedeng i-forfeit yung mga ninakaw? Ano yung mga pwedeng i-hold departure order? Para, kumbaga may graphic na matrix na makikita ang mga tao.
Communication na naman, communication.
Yes. Para makita nila na may nangyayari. Hindi yung, isasabit namin lahat yan after 4 weeks, after 4 months. Hindi pwede yun. Dapat, finish or not finish, submit your paper. No? Ganun kaagad. No? Para holding the bull by its horns. Dapat ganun yung asta ng ating gobyerno, especially itong mga investigating bodies na ito. Nakikita ko, sinisimulang gawin ni Ombudsman Remulla.
Yeah.
Dapat ganun yung maging ethos. Dapat ganun yung maging conduct. No?
Sobrang
Ayun lang
bilis.
kung titignan mo si Vince Dizon, mukhang tumanda ng 20 years.
Ronald, gusto ko lang balikan yung, syempre, yung sa uniform service, sa AFP. Yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina. We're talking about kasi legit grievances. Ano ba yung, if you were to assess, what legit grievances do they have, no? Beyond na kumampi sila sa mga Duterte, beyond na inalagaan sila ni Tatay Digong nung term niya. Ano ba yung legit grievances, kumbaga, against this administration? Do they have anything to be afraid of in that sense?
Well, ito yung first time na yung corruption ay very graphic. Di ba? Nakikita mo yung hundreds of millions nakapatong sa lamesa ng billiard table. Makikita mo yung kahon-kahon ng mga balikbayan boxes, punong-puno ng 1,000 peso bills. Ibig sabihin, very graphic ngayon eh. Tapos maikukumpara mo dun sa patuloy na flooding, halimbawa sa Bulacan. Halimbawa, itong distrito ni Bryce at saka ni Alcantara. Ang tawag dyan, District 1. DPWH District 1 sa Bulacan. Alam mo ba, inawarda ng gobyerno yan twice for having the best disbursement. Sila yung pinakamagaling sa pag-disperse ng pera. Nagdi-disburse sila 2 billion a month. Medyo halos imposibleng gawin yun, ha? Dahil para mag-disburse ka ng ganong kalaki every month, kinakailangan mo ng maraming papeles. Ibig sabihin, nung nagdi-disburse sila, nakahanda na yung mga papeles, wala pa yung pera. No? Nakahanda na yung mga saro.
So,
no?
pareho pala yung
ngayon,
grievances.
nakikita yan.
Pareho
Very
yung
graphic.
grievances sa atin. Kumbaga.
Oo. Hindi, grievances din yan ng mga sundalo dahil yung kanilang mga pamilya ay mga sibilyan. Yung mga sundalo nakatira sa mga flood-prone areas din. Di ba? Yung mga sundalo, ganito kaliit yung kanilang mga sinasahod, ganito kaliit ang kanilang mga benefits, kahit na doble yan noong panahon ni Digong, maliit pa rin yan. No? Kaya nakikita nila ito, nagagalit sila.
Ronald, paano naman itong desisyon ng ICC affirming its jurisdiction over the case of former President Duterte? Sa tingin mo ba that will also fuel yung side ng mga Duterte supporters?
Exactly. Yan yung sinasabi kong desperation nila. Nakikita nila, dahil nung una kasi sinasabi nila pwede pang makauwi eh. Gumawa pa nga yung mga pro-Duterte senators ng humanitarian resolution sa Senate, di ba? Para pabalikin si Duterte. Ngayon, wala nang chance yon. Kaya, siyempre, siya yung patriarch ng mga DDS. Kaya, parang si Kibuloy, all in na rin sila. Para nakikita nila, ang chance na lang nila ay mabago yung gobyerno. Mapabagsak yung gobyerno. Again, hindi ko sinasabing tama yun. Sinasabi ko lang, doon sila nang gagaling. At lahat ng naniniwala sa constitutional framework ay dapat labanan yon. Dapat hindi sila ma-seduce sa ganong klaseng temptation.
Okay, so crucial ang next weeks until November 30 for government to show results na talagang may makakasuhan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But next week, may malumabas na. The week after that, dapat may lumabas na.
Yeah.
Hindi pwedeng maghintay. No? Hindi pwedeng maghintay. Sabi ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla ay ika-cancel na nila yung passport ni Saldico. Kailangan may pakita sila na may ginagawa.
Yeah.
Diba? Yun ang dapat nila. Dapat very decisive, very compelling, very dramatic yung resulta nitong mga investigasyon na ito. Hindi ito pwedeng slow burn. Hindi pwede yan.
All right, with that, thank you for your joining us, for telling us all the things that are bad about this threat. Enjoy your seminar in Laguna.
Weekend the weekend sauce, Polile, ito pinag-uusapan natin. Gusto kong mag-relax.
Food for thought yan. Pag ma-meditate natin this weekend.
So once again, that was our political pundit / heckler, Ronald Llamas. Now on to another story. The International Criminal Court has just reaffirmed its jurisdiction over the case of former President Rodrigo Duterte, further clearing the way for pre-trial proceedings. Alleged victims now believe more personalities involved in the Duterte drug war could soon face arrest. According to ICC-accredited lawyer Cristina Conti, the recent decision of the court only means the probe and possible trial will continue. While the defense team can still appeal the decision, Conti says it will be difficult to overturn it at this point. Earlier, the ICC also struck down Duterte's request for an interim release. He will undergo medical examination to see if the 80-year-old is fit to stand trial.
Dito, posibleng magtukoy pa ng ibang responsable, yung mga co-perpetrator ni Duterte, katulad ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. The prosecution is now emboldened, empowered to apply. Itong korte ay di may laya ngayon na pagpasyahan kung i-grant yung warrant of arrest. Kumbaga medyo mas may ka na dito, mas may confidence.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, relatives of the late former President Manuel L. Quezon are not applauding a latest biopic about him. Find out why when the big story returns. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the big story. If there was indeed a secret decision that reversed the 2016 order to dismiss then Congressman Joel Villanueva from service, the palace wants it investigated. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said such a move could erode the public's trust in the office of the Ombudsman and the country's justice system.
Kung ito po ay mapapatunayang totoo, ito po ay nakakabahala dahil hindi dapat nagkakaroon ng pagdududa ang taumbayan sa ating justice system. Considering na ito po ang isa sa pinakamahalagang ahensya upang maiwasan at matugunan ang issue about sa korupsyon sa bansa. At tayo naman po ay nananalig at nagtitiwala sa kakayahan ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla. At kahit sila ay independent body, dapat din natin sabihin sa kanila, sa atin, sa pamamagitan natin, na dapat ito talagang imbestigahan ng malaliman upang kung anuman ang may pagkakamali, kung anuman ang nalabag na batas, kung mayroon man, ay dapat itong masolusyonan at maitama ng Office of the Ombudsman.
Yesterday morning, Ombudsman Boying Remulla wanted to speak with Senate President Tito Sotto on the possible enforcement of Villanueva's dismissal. Former Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales ordered Villanueva's ouster for alleged misuse of his pork barrel allocation. But before Remulla could do this, his predecessor Samuel Martires confirmed reversing Morales' order in 2019. This prompted Remulla to drop his bid to dismiss Villanueva.
Now in other news, a talkback session of the historical film Quezon turned heated last night after the grandson of former President Manuel L. Quezon erupted in anger over the portrayal of his grandfather.
So, lagi pagpapaniwalaan. Joke pala ito. It's a joke. It is satire. Teka, yan di pa ako tapos eh.
With all due respect, sir,
Oh.
I understand the feelings.
But this is a Q&A for everyone.
Okay,
And
so
we can-
my question has been answered, so let me finish.
We are giving everyone a chance.
Mr. Enrique Avancenia asked director Gerald Tarog if Quezon, the last chapter in the Bayaniverse trilogy, was meant to be a political satire, to which the filmmaker said yes. From then on, Avancenia vented his grievances toward the biopic, to the point that lead actor Jericho Rosales reminded him that there was a time and place for questions. But Quezon's grandson was not done yet. On Facebook, he said he already saw the film 3 times and lamented that, quote, effing Jericho Rosales was canceling a Quezon for blocking him to speak. Avancenia is not discouraging the public from watching the film Quezon, but he urges future moviegoers to defend the former president, whom he regarded as, quote, the best and incorruptible. And here's what transpired during the contentious talkback session.
Na sinalaunan nyo ang alaala ng aking lolo. So what you have opened, Mr. Taro, is a Pandora's box. Mahiya kayo. Ngayon, eto sinachannel ko ngayon ang aking lolo sa pagsabi ko sa inyong ito. Okay, so satire. So huwag natin pagpapaniwalaan. Joke pa na ito. It's a joke. It is satire.
We're gonna listen to you, but there's a space and time.
Jericho, wag mo akong ganyan ha?
No, sir. Because
Umupo ka, patapusin mo ako. 1 minute, I'm done.
TBA Studios, the producer of Quezon, says while the film includes thematic elements for fictional purposes, the story is grounded on historical records, including the late president's own autobiography and other reputable sources.
And let's see if he's still steaming. We have Ricky Avancenia now on Zoom. Good evening, Ricky. Welcome to the big story. Mukhang kalmado ka na.
Paano? Ganda-ganda mo eh.
Ikaw talaga. Teka, let's talk about the film.
Kung di ko pa binura-bura si Derek ko, hindi tayo magkikita.
Ano ba ang main point ng pinuputok ng butsi mo?
Doon sa forum?
No, the film itself. The film. The film. Why, what was so objectionable about how Manuel Quezon was portrayed in the film? I'm sorry, I did not watch it, so I cannot really speak about it either.
It's just was portrayed in a very bad light. Tapos, wala namang pinakitang maganda. So, hindi naman na para pabaguhin siya o pagandahin siya. Pero, I mean, it would have been nice if they had a bit of balance.
Sorry?
Balance.
Sana na-balance na kaunti. Diba? Kasi, yun nga, one-sided eh. Tapos, napanood ko, kasi naimbita ako ng mga block screening eh, di ba? Iniimbita ako yung una, mga Quezon City architects. So I went, they made me talk before, tapos napanood ko. A couple of days later, inimbita ako ng mga Quezonian groups. 3 cinema yun, so I spoke in 3 cinemas before the movie. Pagkatapos, pero noon, meron may spoiler alert na ako sa kanila na, uy, pinalalabas kami mga parang magnanakaw dito, lolo ko. So, hindi kami mga nepo baby, yun ang sinabi ko. Tapos, okay, the second time, nakita ko doon sa mga Quezonian, daming naasiwa. Wala nagpapalakpakan. Tapos pag-uwi ko, yun na, nakita ko na sa social media, grabe na yung bashing. At grabe talaga. So, yun, na-feeling ko, wait, let me confront. Makikiano ko. Diba? Talk, question and answer. Alamin ko kung anong kanilang punto de vista. Pero ang talagang kinaputok na ang putsi ko dyan, na yung producer, si Ed Rocha, claimed that the movie is a satire, a political satire. Kung gano'n naman pala, yun ang gusto ko itanong. So, punta na ako doon, nanood ako, first question ako. Sabi ko, dahil senior na ako So, ako naula. Ang tanong ko yun, is this satire? Ang sagot, yes. Wow, nagulat ako. I would have thought they would have had more artistic and moral integrity to stand by their work. Pero hindi. Umpisa pa lang, may disclaimer na. This is fiction, etc., etc. Yung disclaimer. Pagkatapos, yun. Satire naman pala eh. So I really was not expecting that because it's coming across as a historical biopic. So, ayun. Napa-research nga tuloy ako. Alam ko naman ang ibig sabihin ng satire, pero ito pala ang simple definition. The art of making someone or something look ridiculous, raising laughter in order to embarrass, humble, or discredit its targets. Oh, tapos, ang translation sa Tagalog, panunuya. No, kaya sabi ko, siguro, in today's lingo, ang translation niya, ikaw naman, di ka na mabiro, joke lang eh. Oh, so sabi ko, ito, pumutok na ako, sabi ko, bakit pa tayo magdidiskusyon dito? Joke lang pala ito. Ang eto na ngayon, ito naman si Checo, and I saw Checo before the screening. 3 beses ko na nakilala yan. Doon sa moon, basta several times. Tapos pinupuri ko, I like him. I like his portrayal of Lolo. Magaling. Pero nung tumayo siya, na pinatatahimik ako, at ang tanong niya, ang sabi niya, there is a time and place for everything. My God, be damned. I'll be damned if a Quezon in a movie house where there's a question and answer forum about Quezon, the movie, cannot ask a question. If that is not the time and the place, I don't know where or what is. So, ayun, munti ko lang siguro eh. Hanggang naalala ko, 65 years old na pala ako. Kaya-kaya ako din.
So you're saying dapat open rin sila sa criticism ng kanilang obra.
Pinagtutuyan yung lolo ko, tinuya-tuya yung lolo ko. O ito ko kayo, makinig kayo.
Pero you saw the film 3 times. In your initial screen or viewing of it, did you already make that judgment?
Alam mo sis, ako bukas naman ang ulo ko eh. Diba? It's like art, it's like art appreciation 101 will tell you, you may or may not like it personally, but surely you can know to the elements, diba? Cinematography, score, etc., etc., So, gano'n ko tinignan, first 2 times. Pero pagkatapos gano'n, ang nakukuha nilang reaction, yung nakasabi ko sa kanila, alam ba yung ginawa nyo? You have opened the Pandora's box. Meron taong nag-i-stock sa lahat ng mga post ko, nagko-comment na cursed daw yung ginawa ni Quezon. Parang isang clerico-fascist ito eh. Cursed daw. We have been cursed by Quezon. And the reason we're like this today is because of that curse. So sabi sa akin, please pray. You have to retract that statement and lift the curse. All these lulis are coming out of the woodwork. Sa pagaling ito, pagkabaling na ito, ang pinakamadami ito. Mga bata ito ha. Dapat pala naiwan na tayo sa Amerikano. Ganon. Gusto niya parang Puerto Rico tayo? Binababoy-baboy lang ni Trump?
Sir Ricky? Yeah, I think most of the online, kumbaga, hate and bashing, it's coming from that quote from Manuel L. Quezon, with that we'd prefer a government run like hell by Filipinos rather than Americans, right? Paraphrased. But a lot of the criticism naman aimed towards you and on social media, and I'd like you to address that now para open na sa lahat, no? They're saying you watched it 3 times. The first 2 times, your posts about it seem to be, kumbaga, not negative. And so they're saying that it was the bashing that, kumbaga, got to you and made you see the movie perhaps in a different way. What would you say to that?
No, this is what happened there. Okay, you make a movie, okay, good faith. You try your best, good faith. But nung nakita ko in bad faith pa rin ang ginawa, that at the onset, by admitting at the onset that they were going to embarrass, humble, or discredit my grandfather, wala na tayong pag-uusapan. Bumaba na tingin ko sa kanilang lahat. Tapos, ayaw ba akong pasalitain? That's not the time and the place? Oh my God. Paano na yun? Saan ang gusto niya? Kailan? Wala na. Diba? So, in good faith, pwede tayo mag-usap. Pero kung gano'n, at the outset pala, manunuya lang kayo eh. Hindi, wala tayong pag-usapan. Pagkatapos ito bang, sige na nga. Anyway, any more questions?
But if we backtrack a little bit, Sir Ricky, hindi po ba talaga nakonsulta ang descendants ni President Quezon throughout the filmmaking process? hindi nagkaroon ng dialogue between the producers and the Quezon family. Kung paano ipoportray si the late president?
Alam mo, hindi, wala. Pero naunawa ko kung bakit. Dahil siyempre, kadalasan yan, baka awatin ng pamilya kung hindi sila sang-ayon sa gagawin, di ba? Or, like, kung if he's not portrayed in too good a light. So baka awatin. So naunawa ko. And, once you enter the public sphere, you're free to be criticized, to be talked about, to be written about, di ba? Huwag lang slanderous o libelous.
There were other... Go ahead,
Yes?
go ahead. Finish your thought before I ask my question. Go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm done.
There were other portrayals of historical figures in the country by the same production group that were not also, in good light. But the relatives, hindi kagaya mo na sumugod doon at hindi ko naman sasabing nagwala. I mean, you were,
Sabihin mo na, nagwala ako.
Upset.
Oo, so they took it, I mean, the relatives, the descendants, privately took issue with the portrayal of their ancestors, but hindi kagaya mo na very vocal.
Linya ko yan, Ses, eh. Communications director ako, di ba? In 86, I worked with Pepe Jokdo in the Human Rights Committee. Tapos kay Bobby Sanchez sa Labor Ministry. Tapos nakilala tayo nung Senate Beat Reporter ka in 87, di ba? Sa PTV4 ka. Nakibabitanyagan ako. So lagi kong hawak communications. Ganyan. So sorry, baka yung mga kamag-anak nila wala silang sabi sa communications. Ako medyo may alam ako ng konti. So, yan. At least, namura ko na sila. Nasabi nila gusto ko. Nag-viral na. Okay
you may have inadvertently promoted the film actually and made people want to see it.
I absolutely have no qualms about that. Yeah. Let the debate flourish. Let 100 schools of thought contend. Let 1,000 flowers bloom. Hindi ba?
That's great.
So,
pero dapat ang ginawa mo, nung ginagawa yon, nag-volunteer kang pwede bang makita yung ano ba yung ano? I mean, you would have
hindi
had...
nga kumontak eh. Hindi, ito pala. Kumontak sa akin si Bart Gingola minsan. Nagusto raw ko ma-interview ni Jericho. Tapos wala, hindi na. Pero, so, I mean, kung kinontak nila talaga yung story namin, si Manolo Quezon III, malaking tulong nun. Eh, hindi eh. Pero okay na rin kasi nga, at least hindi kami complicit doon sa pagtutuya at pambababoy na ginawa nila, yung pagsasalaula nila sa alaala ng lolo ko. At ako, kaya okay, to answer your question again, kung bakit on the third day lang ako gano'n, what happened? Eh kasi nakita ko yung reaction ng tao. Kung ako, okay lang sa akin. Pero kung if you're goading people, and people who have no... Yan si Gerald Tarog, music major yan eh. May narinig pa akong paliwanag niya, parang these are the three movements of a symphony. Yung huli, ang pinaka-bombastic. Yung parang, di ko makaka-rock opera. Yan pala specialty ko eh. Pero huwag ka maglalaro ng historical na wala ka sa konteksto. Ilagay mo sa konteksto lahat.
Sige, papanoorin namin, tapos mag-usap tayo.
Ayoko na. Okay na ako.
We thank you. We thank you for joining us tonight. Ricky Avancenia, a grandson of President Manuel L. Quezon. And before we go, this breaking news, Mount Canlaon in Negros Island is currently erupting. That's according to PHIVOLCS, which recorded the unrest starting at 8:09 this evening. We will keep you posted on this development via our social media platforms. Check out onenews.ph, 1PH, and News 5 for updates on Mount Canlaon.
That's our eruption, unrest.
Yep.
Until the end of the show. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
And hopefully everyone in Negros stays safe and alert during an eruption.
Yeah.
Kailangan prepared lagi. Okay, but
yung go bag mo, nagawa
yung
mo
go
na. Yung go, ako hindi pa.
Ako din, hindi pa.
Kulit natin, Okay, maybe we should do that this weekend.
We should.
But for this week, that's it for us here on The Big Story. Thank you so much for watching.
We're back here on Monday at 7:30 p.m. We'll be seeing you then.
Kapatid, We are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a great weekend, everyone.